Hi friends and family, I've been sort of delaying to do this video. One, I didn't know how to, I'm not very good computer wise. So if my eyes are wandering or whatever, it's because I don't know where I'm supposed to be looking at. I've been wanting to do this for a while because it's important. Many of you know that here recently something very spiritual happened to me. And I've been sharing my visions that the Lord showed me. The first one starting on September the 17th, 18th, and 19th of 2015. I have since understood that I had others before, but I didn't understand what was going on before then. Nevertheless, just in case you haven't known of the visions, I'm going to explain this to you, how this works, how I've learned how the Lord works through me. So many of you know already that I've always been close to the Lord. Yes, I'm human. I make mistakes. That's one of the things that people don't realize, is that when the Lord calls upon somebody, they're considered a watchman. Some people say prophet. I don't feel comfortable with prophet. I feel more comfortable with watchman. So leading up to these events, some other things had happened, but what's really important for me to stress is the beginning, what I felt was the turning point. I'm going to go over them briefly. September 17th, I was going to sleep that night, and I was praying, but I was in a lot of anguish emotionally, feeling a lot of anguish for the grief for the Lord, because of the things that were being passed in our government. And I don't want to get too much into that because this is going to take me a while to get through. Because up to date, I've had about 32 visions since. So, and I've documented everything. One of the things the Lord asked me before and during my spiritual awakening, which goes back to December 7th of 2014, one of the initial instructions that he, put upon my spirit at the time was that I needed to get journals and write everything down, that he would be telling me of future things that would happen. So I did. I didn't hesitate. Ever since then, I've shared every instruction, every vision, every dream. I've shared with my husband immediately, because the Lord has shown me that I need to declare it as soon as it happens. Okay, so going back to, and I'm sorry if I'm scatterbrained, but again, this is the first time I've ever done this. I've never recorded a video, as far as not like this. We've done it with our humanitarian group, and it's been like, a couple minutes long off my iPhone. So anyhow, September 17th, I was praying that night, and I've tried to explain to everybody what happened that night was the emotions were so strong. That night in particular was different because I could feel the Lord's anguish. I could feel how pained he was from our behavior here on earth, is how I can describe it. I'd asked the Lord that night to please to call upon me. I was offering, I was telling him in that prayer at that time, I was asking him to come to me, that I would share his message to the people, to his people, and what they needed to do to prepare for his coming, because I knew that that's coming very, very soon. Believe me, it's coming very soon. Many people get scared and think, oh my God, it's the end of the world right now. No. And that's why it's so important for you to read the book of Revelations. I've stressed that to everybody. Read the book of Revelations as soon as possible, so that you can get, not only rekindle your relationship with the Lord so that you're strong spiritually when these things happen, but for you to know his chronological order that he gives us in the Bible. It is precise. It is gospel. What the Lord shares with us in the Bible is he's telling us to warn us to see certain signs. again, scatterbrained here because there's so much for me to share with you today. I'm going to try to get through part of it. If this video goes well, I can share another one, Lord willing. So September 17th, I had gone to bed that night. My husband was already asleep, and I was praying out loud. And I'd prayed the Lord to pour his spirit on me that I would get the message to the people. And I just apologize really for our behavior, what we've become, because we really have reached, we've tapped out morality-wise. We really have. And if you're honest with yourself, you'll realize that. You'll see how bad things have gotten. The Bible speaks of us, our children becoming unholy, a lot of things, men in general not being forgiving. They're so easy and quick to just disregard, and I've been guilty of that too. Like I said, I'm not perfect. So September 17th, most of you know the vision that I had was pertaining to a Mideastern descent little boy about 13 years old. I remember everything about him. I remember his character and his face, the outlining of his face, everything. I'm going to give the first three visions, and then whatever the Lord tells me to share today, I'm going to share. That's just what it's going to boil down to today. So September 17th was the vision of the little boy, and he seemed to be like he was in Jerusalem, in Israel, in that area. He had the sackcloth robe type look of that culture. It's the best way I can describe it. He had his left hand reaching out, as if he was pleading for help. And that was the first, I guess the first time, or the second time actually, that I'd received a vision where I would see the words on the screen, is how I describe it. It's like a projector. The screen comes around and I'm able to see not only what the Lord visually wants me to see, but in picture. But he shows me words on the screen. Typically the words come highlighted like you would see in like the movies that you usually see, where the words highlight in gold kind of color. They're highlighted. So in this vision, in seeing the little boy, he's pleading for help, and that's what I'm gathering from this vision. And he says, and on the screen the Lord shows me the words, in false care. And of course I didn't know what that meant. Looking back, this was my second written vision, so I was trying to gather everything from what the Lord was showing me. I was trying to gather the background, everything, because I had just asked him and told him that I would take this on, and I meant it. So of course I didn't understand what that meant. In false care, I didn't understand that. Okay, so then it took me a while to go to sleep after that, obviously. Again, I realize now that it was a preparation for these, what would be a three-part series vision, September 17th, 18th, and 19th. So then I ended up falling asleep really late and stuff. I ended up waking up, and as soon as I woke up, I was stumbling for my glasses because I literally had to bring myself to share it with my husband, because I knew it was important. It was different. And so anyhow, I shared that as soon as I woke up with my husband, and I shared him, you know, of course, everything about the vision and what I had prayed for. And he had been up, I guess, apparently like about an hour before. And he had, because he usually wakes up before me. So he woke up about an hour before, and he was already looking at headline news and things of that nature. And he flipped around his iPad and he says, "Do you want to know what's really weird about what you just described?" And I said, "No, what do you know?" I you know, by then I was trembling, because you have to understand, it's just something so surreal when it happens to you. So he turned over his iPad and he showed me how it had just come out in the news, a headline news that the Vatican, the Pope, had taken in a Syrian refugee family. And I knew it in my heart that the Lord was telling me, the little boy that he had showed me, that I knew. Part of these visions, sometimes it's written, sometimes I found out later is audible, but primarily it's a matter of knowing. If I don't know how to explain it, you know what the Lord is showing you, whether it's written, whether he tells you, whatever it may be. So I knew that the Lord was calling my attention that the false care came from the Vatican. I've been hesitant to share that one in particular because future events and the Bible tells us where the Pope will stand in all of this, in the prophecy as it fulfills itself. I'm not going to go into that because I know a lot of people will tend to get sidetracked with that. I'll just say that. There's much more to the vision, but again, I want to get through these with you. September 18th comes the next day, and this one was based upon the Lord preparing myself and my family for what's to come. But he also wanted me to stress that not only for our family to get ready, but for me, it was going to be me fulfilling what I vowed to do and telling people to get ready. We've been prompting people for a while, and those of you who know me know I would never mock God. I would never just make this up. Trust me, I'm not very popular in the sense of a lot of people don't want to talk about this because they're scared. They just get tunnel vision and they think, oh my God, the world's going to end. If you knew about the prophecy, you would know that that is not the case. The initial warning, as the Lord has shown me, and I don't want to miss that because I think it's really important in this first one that after all of these visions, he did tell me, and I shared this on Facebook, he did give me a direct warning, a statement that in order for the world to understand his judgment, a great shaking is coming, and I knew it to be the earthquake that he speaks about in the Bible. So the 18th, September 18th, was more about the Lord's instruction for us to prepare our household, to save food and prepare that way. We've been warning people since 2012, actually, and we didn't know why we were being directed this way, but it's very clear now why he was telling us then to prepare. And again, many of you in our direct, immediate family and friends, our close-knit family and friends know that we've been warning about this here since 2012. And what I mean by warning is preparing, not so much a warning, but preparing, the preparation of getting your house in order with the Lord, trusting in him again, returning to him. If you've slipped, if you've fallen, we need to return to the Lord. So many times we just get so busy in our lives and whatnot, and we just go about our days thinking that, oh, I'm a good person, I know I'll make it into his kingdom. That's not my understanding of it. That's why I'm here to tell you that it's so important for you to rekindle your relationship with him, so that you give him the opportunity to perhaps communicate with you. Because I can tell you that he doesn't choose favorites. It's not about favoritism. It's about who's willing to go to bat for him, who's willing that if he pours his spirit on you, that you actually do say what you're going to do, and you follow through and you warn his people. And most of you know that it's been very hard because I've had to do that. second one was more, again, preparation for our homes and warning the people that they needed to prepare and get years of worth of food. In reading the Bible, you'll understand why he's telling us this. This falls along with the economy collapsing, the mark of the beast. That was one of my first assignments besides studying Revelations. One of the first assignments besides the 3-part series of visions and sharing them on the 4th day. I knew that on the 4th day I would not receive another vision. I knew that I would have to share the 3-part vision. That was like a testing for him to see if I would translate his dream and visions the way he told me, the way he instructed me to do it. And I did, precisely because he told me from the beginning, do not change what I give you. And so I had to write everything down precisely. So the 19th came. I'm just going to quickly get out of what we call Mabel's home. I've shared that in depth on my Facebook. Okay, so the 19th had to do with a native Indian. And he sat before me. I prayed that night, pretty much the same thing. And what had changed with my prayers was all 3 nights I would say, Lord, please let your eyes be my eyes so that I could see clearer. When I talk about these visions, it's hard. The only way I can describe it is that when I'm, and pardon me, it's important for you all to know this is real. This isn't made up. This isn't a plea for attention. I don't need it. I've never been big on attention. In fact, I've been quite the opposite. I've always taken a back seat to any attention drawing towards myself. But I need you to understand the importance of these visions and me sharing them. I'm pleading you to get ready. I've pleaded with you before. And some of you have bought a couple of cans of chicken and bought a couple of cans of tuna and peanut butter, things of that nature. I'm telling you right now, what lies ahead very soon, okay? Very soon, you're going to need to prepare spiritually, and you're going to need to prepare your households with food. I can't stress that enough to you, because what's going to be imposed on us, I later found out, and I just mean here within a couple of months of receiving the first 3 visions. And again, I'm scattered because I want to cover so much with you. You have to understand that the Lord initially, after these 3 visions, and I'm sorry for getting sidetracked on the 3rd one. Let me get back to the 3rd one. It's overwhelming because I feel like when I'm sharing the visions, the Spirit's working through me. And the Lord's telling me, He's just feeling my spirit. I can't explain it. It's full of emotion. Okay, so the 3rd one had to do with my son, our son, Alberto. And I'm gonna breeze through this one because that one's really hard for me to share. In this, after I prayed, the Lord showed me an Indian. His hair was all sleeked back. It was gray. He was wearing a gray shirt, the shirt I knew to be very familiar. I knew it to be one of our shirts. And he was wearing shorts, I guess short pants, I think they call them. Anyhow, they were the longer ones like we have in Hawaii, but they were Levi. And I knew those to be familiar as well. I knew that it was something here from our house. I'm trying to remember the vision and the words that came with it. the Lord showed me this Indian, and I could see the TV in the background. It was an older model. It was a console. I was just trying to grab everything around me. When you receive these visions, you're trying to grab everything in its sight because you don't want to lose out on the message. The words came on the screen, and I could see that the Lord had showed me, let freedom reign. Most of you who know us very closely know what that meant with Alberto. But it was funny because the Lord is known to not give dates. And he gave it to me like sort of like in a scripture, in the form of a scripture, but I knew it. He was trying to tell me a certain date, which was November 19th. All three of these visions, family and friends, you need to know, all three of these visions have come to fruition. The first one, of course, came to fruition the day after it was given to me. The second one, Mabel's home, has come to fruition over a time because the Lord was giving us instruction on what to do. And the third one, of course, most of you know, also has come to fruition because Alberto came home from Hawaii on November 19th. I'm going to fast forward here because again, I'm not big on attention. I don't want to do a bazillion videos. Okay? I want to be able to give you the word from the Lord so that you understand, because honestly, we don't have a lot of time. And when I say we don't have a lot of time, I don't have a lot of time to draw out these videos and all of that for you at this time. Unfortunately, it was never set up on my heart to come forward in a video, perhaps because I don't know how to really function videos or anything like that. But I've been praying about this and asking the Lord what He wanted me to do, whether He wanted me to do this. As you can tell, I didn't get ready for this video. I'm going out the door and I feel like the Lord wants me to do this right now. If I was doing this for attention, I wouldn't be wearing a big island hat. Nevertheless, I need to stress to you that I'm going to try and get all of this in. If I forget something that's vital, then I'll do another video. Okay? I don't care about the videos. I don't care about likes. I care about the Lord's message to you, that you get it. That you get it and you understand that there's not a lot of time left. What I mean by there's not a lot of time left is, I mean there's not a lot of time left for you to prepare your households. If you haven't been listening already to what I've been saying on my Facebook, I've been pleading with people, pleading with you to please get your houses in order, save up food. When I say save up food, and those of you who have asked me privately for the amount of food that you should be saving, I believe you should be saving at least for 4 years. Listen to what I just said, at least 4 years. That doesn't mean that the world's going to end tomorrow, okay? That tells you clearly that we're going to go through these times of tribulation. You will need to have food to feed your families. Why? Why would you need food? Because our food supply is going to go to very minimal. The Lord has expressed that to me several times. That's why I've asked you to save and save and save. Every time you go to the grocery store, save. On October 5th, October 5th, 2015, I did not know at this point, honestly, that anybody could hear the Lord audibly. I didn't know that was even possible. You might think, oh, well, that's pretty ignorant. No, I didn't know that you could actually hear the Lord's words audibly. I did. October 5th, I was praying, and same thing, just very much in prayer that night. And I ended up falling asleep. I woke up. I was woken up to literally a tap on my shoulder. This is how the Lord caught my attention, because when I sleep, I go to sleep. Nothing can get me up. I looked over to my clock and it was 2:36 a.m. Again, October 5th, 2015. The Lord woke me up to a black screen. I was very confused and I said out loud, Lord, why did you wake me up? It's 2:36. Why are you waking me up to a black screen? I don't understand. And much to my surprise, I heard what I can only describe as a thunderous voice, the voice of literally of a lion. And I wasn't scared because I knew it was him. And he said, there will be 3 days of rain. There will be 3 days of darkness. And 3 days, excuse me, let me go back. I think I got distracted. It was 3 days of rain, 3 days of thunder, and 3 days of darkness. In that order, he told me. Sorry, my husband had just come in, so I got distracted. But it was very clear what the Lord was showing me. And then, of course, that anytime I have a vision, I have to study it. The next day comes with research. That's how come I had excused myself from Facebook, because before this, he had already told me and given me the assignment of going straight to Revelations. He wanted me to read Revelations, know it, understand it, and be able to share it with people so that they would know the importance of it. In between September 17th, September 17th and October 5th, the Lord was having me study Revelations, and I remember getting a call from my son before he had come home, before November, so you can see the timeline here. I remember him asking me, Mama, why did you go straight to Revelations? I just told you to get my Bible. It was a MacArthur Study Bible, and I really do recommend that Bible because it really breaks it down for you. This was a gift from my son, Alberto. And I remember him telling me, he said, Mama, why did you skip clear to Revelations? I remember being a little nervous about telling him, but I ended up telling him because the Lord told me to. And I knew that if the Lord was telling me to get straight to Revelations, I knew that we were too far gone. That he didn't have time for me to read from the beginning at this point. So I did. I jumped into it. I jumped into Revelations immediately. In between there, again, I'm going to try to point out the most important revealing things that the Lord has showed me. In between Revelations, of course, comes with Revelations is the mark of the beast. What a lot of people don't understand is that if you see everything what's happening in our world, and again, I don't know where this camera, I don't know what I should be looking at, so I apologize that I'm not making eye contact with you, because I do want to make eye contact with you. I need you to understand the severity of this. In reading the book of Revelations and understanding it, there's a part that talks about the mark of the beast. A lot of people have teased over the years, oh yeah, haha, mark of the beast, 666, like it's some kind of myth. I can guarantee you today, it is not a myth. It's very true. It's why he had me get into, one of the reasons he had me get into Revelations. The Lord had shown me to look into specifically the RFID, which is also known as the microchip. That's how come when people sometimes will say, maybe she's guessing. No, I can tell you right now, I'm not guessing. This is something that the Lord told me exclusively and specifically to look into. So I looked into that as well, and I could see obviously why he was showing me that. This microchip stems from Obamacare. I'm not here to slander him per se, even though I know how he comes into play in the Bible and the prophecy. That chip, that microchip, is exclusively outlined on page 1004. How do I know that? Because the Lord showed me. He took me to that page exclusively for me to share with you, to show you that it indeed is the mark of the beast. I'm going to take my Lord's word for it. He showed me it. He showed me it to show you, to save you and your family, because there is no forgiveness when you take the mark of the beast. A lot of people have asked me, well, what if it's forced on you? I don't have all the answers. All I can tell you is that if the Lord knows in your heart that you didn't want to take it, and it was physically forced on you so that you could buy or sell or trade, as the Revelations points out to, in the book of Revelations points out to, that's another thing. But that's one thing that you have to go one-on-one with the Lord. You have to tell him, Lord, please forgive me. You know that this was forced upon me. But you've got to get used to talking to the Lord out loud. That's what I try to tell everybody. I've tried to explain this to my dad. My dad has asked me, that sometimes he wonders why the Lord didn't speak to him. He's given his whole life to, the Lord. But it's never too late. It's never too late. Again, this isn't about favoritism. This is about going up to bat for the Lord. If you're ready to speak the words that the Lord shows you, then you have a way of aligning yourself with the Lord to do that. You have more of the possibility, is all I can say, because that's what was completely different in my visions that first night. Was I offered myself to the Lord, and I vowed, no matter what he told me, how strange it might sound, whether it's the mark of the beast, whether it's an asteroid, whether it's a meteor, all of that is prophesied in the Bible. And I can tell you once again, the Bible is gospel. All of that is going to come to pass. Now, I had another vision where I also shared on Facebook about an angel. He was propped up on a horse. He was very beautiful. He was completely ivory. He had a big red robe on. He was up on top of he was on the right hand of the screen, by the way, and I'm going to skip over what I had prayed over that night, what I had prayed about in order for the Lord to show me this. But he was on the right hand of my screen. And behind him was New York. I knew it to be New York because of the buildings. Not because it had the state empire, but something I knew to be New York. And there was a big rolling cloud coming over New York. But also what was coming over New York was the biggest tsunami I had ever seen in my life. Whether it be in pictures or otherwise. And on the screen, the words populated, the world's revolution. I, of course, tried to study what that means, and I have a pretty good idea of what that means. My understanding today, fast forwarding through all of my visions, again, I've had almost, I think it's 32 now that the Lord has given me since then, quite possibly because I have given every vision that he has asked me to share, I have shared it vocally with all of you, despite the mocking, despite whatever. That's okay. I forgive those people in advance. I understand that you're scared, but my understanding here, to fast forward it a little bit, is that we're getting really close, and we indeed are going through the days of tribulation. Again, that's really important for you to study upon in the Bible so that you understand the chronological order of events in which they will happen. One of the things I'm going to point out to you is when some of these things start to occur, it is listed in Revelations, I believe it's Revelations 8:3, and it starts to reveal about the 7 seals, the 7 trumpets, and the 3 woes. Those are really important to know about. There was another one that's really important that I shared on Facebook too, because the Lord asked me to. I don't have this one written down as far as the date in my book, like my notes right now, because I just took some brief notes. I just sort of wanted it off the cuff and just give you the testimony. So this one was about Obama in the Oval Office. The Lord has given me, folks, just so you know, the Lord has given me several on Obama and several on the Pope and how they come into the prophecy. This one in particular showed Obama. He was in the Oval Office. He was wearing his navy and traditional tie and whatnot. He was facing me on the screen when it came around. And in his left hand, he held a like one of those flashcards that you would normally see like in school that you learned about. And it was like medium to large size, and it was in his left hand, and he held it, and he had a smirk on his face, unfortunately, but he had this look on his face, but he was seeing through me. It was weird. I can't even describe it. Nevertheless, this card had a number 6, but the number 6 was turned upside down to formulate a number 9. I can't remember if the Lord had given me right now, and I can update this if I need to later, but if he had given me words on the screen that day, but or that night in that vision. But nevertheless, I ended up doing my research the next day, because again, every vision comes with research and homework, because the Lord speaks to me in parables. So the next day I did my homework on the number 9 and what that meant. You can look it up as well. It said that this number 6 turned upside down meant to overtake or overthrow. The Lord has been showing me this with Obama for some time now, in several other visions, where he plans, okay, I believe, to stay in office, and he is going to overtake the country. That's what I can tell you, what the Lord has poured on my spirit to share with you, to prepare for, because that if that's true, if you're honest with yourselves, you'll understand why Jade Helm comes into play, why you're seeing more military in your areas. Just this morning, my husband and I seen a video where somebody had actually videotaped the Walmart, the closed Walmart, and it is flooded with military. Now, the government isn't being honest with us, and I can tell you that 200% they're not being honest with us, because they know, first of all, fast forward into these visions to right now, I've been talking about a possible asteroid or a meteor because of the visions that the Lord has shown me. This aligns with the prophecy. This isn't something that Poli made up. This is something that is shown to us in the prophecy in the 7 trumpets. It is my understanding that what will initially set the course of events into a domino effect is, the first thing is the great earthquake that the Lord tells us about. Excuse me. The earthquake could be because this thing, whether it's an asteroid, a comet, a meteor, whatever it is, it has a certain magnitude of energy that comes with it. If it gets too close to Earth, certain things can happen. It'll spark off certain things to happen. And so my understanding, because I have to align it with I have to align what he provides for me in my visions, in my dreams, and I have to align it with what he's showing me in Revelations. So it'll be most likely, I believe, that what he's showing us is the outline in Revelations where it tells us that there's going to be a big earthquake. Well, if you've been paying attention to what they have provided to us, is the fault lines in California, and it runs up, clear up to the, some of that fault line runs up into the eastern part of our, back east, I should say. Not finding the words to really describe it, but nevertheless, it talks about a global earthquake, okay? A global earthquake that we will feel. I'm not going to give you the complete outline for the seals and the trumpets, because I sincerely want for this video to help you reach out to the Lord. That's really what my ultimate goal is for you to seek Him and seek answers through Him. Because I don't want to misinterpret something and then somebody come back and say, oh, that's not what it was said, because the Bible is very complicated. It's hard to understand. I have also shown you and shared with you online about a vision of the streets of New York and a meteor, what I thought looked like a meteor. But it also looked, to me, it seemed like by the time I was done with the vision, I knew it to be some kind of missile. I'd seen this ball of fire land in the middle of the street of New York, possibly Chicago, but I doubt it. It seemed more like New York. I'm going to sum up this video because, again, I don't want to do a really long video because there's a lot that's missing here. A lot of the visions, obviously 32 visions. I'm not going through all of them, but I feel like these are the most important or the most outstanding ones that you need to be aware of because of what's happening with NASA right now. I can tell you from my research here recently, my in-depth research, that NASA and our government is not being completely honest with us. The reason I can tell you that without a doubt is because when the day that we had heard that Walmart was shutting down 269 stores, I knew that was because they were going to start remodeling those, or they had already started, because before they'd already shut down 5 in one day. Now, logic tells me, and it should tell you, that the most busy and most profitable chain of retailers is Walmart, Target. Why are they closing their stores? Because of plumbing issues? What you need to do is you really need to do your own research. You may come up with something that I didn't, maybe I missed, because there's a lot out there. But if you go and see YouTube, you can see people are actually putting their own lives at risk, whether they're jumping fences, whether they're getting really close to see and show you what's behind these gates. And it's all military. Okay? There is no plumbing issues. I feel like I sort of need to tell you what I can see here, because I'm at a little bit of an advantage from what I've seen. And I shared this on Facebook the other day, but for those of you who hadn't received it or hadn't seen it, I just posted something on there, not a video, but just a posting. I had put on there what I believe, sort of what the line of events, how they will happen. Of course, the first one aligning with what the Lord has shown me is the earthquake, okay? There's going to be a global earthquake. It's going to be big. That will most likely, will have the ability, whether it's because of the asteroid, the meteor getting too close to us, which right now, I need to point out to you that what NASA is saying, and if you go to their website, you can see this. You can go to NASA, you can go to near-Earth objects. What they are saying is that the asteroid is most likely going to get really close to us on, well, they're saying that it's not going to get close to us, but they've changed that like 6 times now. But you can see where they are monitoring it for March the 8th. This is why I'm doing this right now, is because I believe that the time could be near for that part of the prophecy to fulfill itself. So they're showing that it's going to be about March 8th. There's dates also going to March 26th. I'm going to tell you a pattern that I noticed right away when the Lord poured His Spirit on me on initially on September 17th. I believe that this can cause certain things to happen, like the tsunami coming into play, because of the earthquake. Obviously, that seems logical to me, that if there's a global earthquake, obviously a tsunami could ensue. But what they say is that when these things get close to us, and again, if you're honest with yourselves, or if you're up to par on the news, you can see that we've had a lot of meteors shooting down. Our youngest one seen one with his wife here recently, just in our area. They've seen them in Arizona. They've seen them in Brazil. They've seen them. One touchdown in Indonesia killed a man. You're seeing meteors become more often. Okay, the Lord told us in the scriptures. He tells us there will be signs in the moons. That's the blood moons that we recently had. Okay. There'll be signs in the stars. Well, the star of Bethlehem showed up after 2,000 years. What does that tell you guys? That after 2,000 years, the star of Bethlehem just shows up? You can confirm everything that I'm saying online. But my point to this is that I noticed the Lord showed me that we're on His timeline. And His timeline is gospel in the Bible. But His timeline also helps us understand where we should be paying attention. And what I mean by that is the Lord showed me immediately after September 17th, when I started doing my research, He showed me a pattern. It was clear to me immediately. The blood moons happened mysteriously on a Jewish holiday. If you look up the blood moons, they occurred on a Jewish holiday. Well, this asteroid that they're talking about that's coming close to Earth on March 8th, not only does it fall on the supermoon, okay, but it falls on an eclipse. And if you remember, or if you've read part of the Bible, or are familiar with the Bible, even with movies, you know that when they crucified Jesus, there was a solar eclipse. It's so important for us to follow the Jewish calendar, which I'm doing. Since then, I've been doing that. I've printed out the Jewish calendars so I can sort of be in the know, so that I can let you all know when these things may transpire. So that's really important. The most I want to get through to you and your families in doing this is to know and prepare you emotionally for what's about to come. There's going to be things that you're not going to imagine that are going to come onto the earth. You would know this for certain if you read the Bible, in Revelations, in Matthew, in Daniel. It all talks about the end of days and what's going to transpire. And one of the messages that I had received from a co-watchman, he calls himself a prophet, but I like watchmen. I feel more comfortable with that. And he said that that the Lord had shown him that Obama would continue for 42 months. Well, when I went to refer to my Bible, it indeed says that a particular person that's in the prophecy, that person's position in the prophecy is he is allowed to continue. It doesn't say maybe continue. No, it says directly to continue. So we need to keep that in mind. And from that, I've looked at other watchmen's videos and their revelations of what's occurring now. And everything that the Lord is showing them aligns what He has shown me. So that's really important for you to know, because this isn't just one person saying this. This is many people saying this. And pardon me for not knowing the scripture, but in Acts, I know it's in Acts, the Lord tells us that He will pour His Spirit upon His children. his men will dream dreams. He tells us all of this is going to happen. And if you have a watchman in your life, then you need to pay attention to what that person's revealing to you, honestly, because they're giving you a heads up of what the Lord is saying here. I will also tell you that in the last couple of weeks, the Lord's visions to me and his messages have changed. The direction has changed to more. The prophecy is starting to fulfill. He's showing us that it's starting to fulfill. The reason I waited so long, I think also, is because I'd sort of gotten sidetracked, because we did reach out to Oprah. We did reach out to some of the Christian outlets, and I'm sure that they're just busy. They don't have time for, some peon talking about Jesus returning, because most people don't believe this, but I can tell you with all my heart and soul, he is returning. Is he going to return tomorrow? No. But he's telling us that he's returning soon. And you can sort of, play this back and sort of come up with your own timeline by what the Lord has revealed to me. Try to keep in mind that the words of he's allowed to continue for 42 months. Try to keep that in mind. Try to keep an open mind to how the Pope plays into prophecy. I know without a doubt where he stands in prophecy, and I know that many of you are not ready to hear how he stands in prophecy. And the reason I know this is because the Lord showed me this. I'm not guessing. This isn't a guess. This is matter of fact of what he has shown me. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude it. I hope that this video turns out good, because this is my first time. We did it, my husband and I did a quick test before this. If you can please share it with your families. Let them know to stock up on food and whatnot, a good supply. Obviously, all of you should know, logically speaking, that if a tsunami hits, especially in your areas, obviously you need to know that the safest place is being in Christ, knowing he's going to take care of you. And I can't stress the word knowing anymore that I have. You need to know that if you have repented for your sins in your life, if you have accepted Jesus Christ as your Savior, he will watch over you. He promises this in the Bible. Seek answers in the Bible. He will give you the answers that you need. But you have to do your part. It took me 44 years for me to actually boldly read the Bible. I'd flipped through the pages before, but I became frustrated just like anybody else would. And that's how come I feel like this Bible, when it came to me in my life, it was time. And obviously, it has been proven to. I'm still reading. I'm in Kings, now that I finished Revelations as the Lord had told me to, as he had instructed me to do so. The reason I'm telling you about the food, though, is because unless you plan on taking the mark of the beast, you're not going to be able to provide for your families. I can't stress this enough. You need to save up your food as soon as possible, before food becomes so scarce that when this thing hits, you have to understand people are going to panic. People are going to panic. People are going to run to the stores. There's going to be a lot of chaos because the government already knows. They already have military in place. So all they're going to have to do is give the code. And that's where we're at with it, people. You need to understand that. Please, family and friends, please hear me. That's where we're at with it. We're very close to this thing coming, whether it's this month, whether it's next month, or whether it's in 2017. It's coming. I promise you, it's coming. Just be prepared in the Lord and know that he'll take care of you. That's what helps me. That's what helps my family, is knowing that we have repented for our sins. But we can't be lukewarm. That's one thing the Lord tells us. We can't be lukewarm. That doesn't mean that I don't fall short. I do. I have kids. They test me. I say things I'm not supposed to say. But every night before I go to bed, I ask for forgiveness for falling short. Please share this video. Please let everybody know. If you want answers, please turn to the Lord. Start reading your Bible, because I promise you, one day soon, we're all going to witness a global revival. And I've been warning about this, and I don't mean warning to scare you. I mean warn as that's a good thing. That's the positive thing here, is that we're going to turn to the Lord, and He's going to hear us. So feel confident. Every day, try to be a better person. Try to help the homeless. Try to help others that need help more than us. Keep being a good person. This doesn't mean stop working. This means in any time off that you have, read the Bible. Seek your answers. Seek the Lord. If I run this tape after doing this and I miss something, I will do another one. But I'm praying that I got everything in it as short as I could. So if you're on coastal areas, please know to seek higher elevation. If this comes to pass here soon, seek higher elevation. I will tell you also that you can look up on YouTube, because people have boldly followed these people to give you the message. The government isn't being honest with you. They've already got tunnels. They've spent millions and millions of dollars on tunnels that they've created. And they go, I've heard, miles deep, up to 3 miles deep. The Ozarks is one that you can start with. And why did they choose the Ozarks? Because it's high in elevation. Ask yourself, how come our retired Navy, our retired military, our retired CIA, all of them, why are they moving to the Ozarks? Ask yourselves these questions. Don't take my word for it. Do your own homework, but also seek the Lord. That's what I really want out of this. I don't need any attention. I need you to focus on the Lord. So right now I just want to say, I hope that you take this to heart, and I hope you listen. And I'm praying for everybody. I'm praying for everybody that everybody acts, that you act, that you save up food, that you do the necessary things that you need to do. We just ask the Lord to please watch over everybody. And I'll keep you in touch.